Welcome, Army fans. This is Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com here with a very special edition of our evening podcast prior to Army Navy. One of my favorite interviews I get to do all year, the parents' perspective prior to Army Navy. We've got a really unique crew of parents here tonight. We've got three firstie parents and one set of plebe parents, which is pretty cool. So we've got complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Everyone is from New Jersey and Georgia. No, I did not pick that personally just because those are two of the states that I lived in, but just a unique coincidence there, and pretty excited to have everybody out tonight here on the East Coast and getting ready for Army Navy. I know everybody's getting excited. As you can tell, some of us already were able to get our Beat Navy gear in prior to the game here. So to get started, I obviously know who you are. I know who your kids are, but for the Army fan base out there, let's do a quick little around the horn. I'll go in order from my right around counterclockwise to my lower left. I've got Ann Henry in the upper right-hand corner. Ann, why don't you give us your name, who your son is on the Army team, and where they played high school ball, and what position they play, and what class they're in.
Okay, so my name is Ann Henry. I'm Sam Barzak's mom. He is number 62, plays offensive line. Went to Sandy Creek High School here in Tyrone, Georgia, where he was a defensive end until junior year, and then he moved to offensive line. Oh, and he's a firstie, finally.
Awesome. All right, Tom and Aaron, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Aaron.
Tom.
Our son is Brady Small. He is a plebe. He's number 51, and he is the center. He played high school football at St. Augustine Prep in Richland, New Jersey, where him and Kanye Udo were teammates.
Really? I gotta stop this and ask a question. How good were they? Like, not them individually, but the team. Did they like win state championships? How'd they end up?
They lost in the semifinals their senior year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don Bosco, who's very
Yeah. Don Bosco's usually top 5 in the country, right there with Buford and that crew. So yeah, that's understandable.
Out of their senior class, I think they had 18 senior or 21 seniors, and 18 went Division I.
Wow.
FCS and
FBS, between
yeah.
FCS and FBS.
Yeah, they were good.
They're really talented.
That's pretty amazing. That's good stuff. All right, Jim and Sharon, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, it's Jim and Sharon Charlo. Our son is Jimmy Charlo. He plays outside linebacker, or what they call Apache. He went to St. Joe's Montvale, New Jersey. He was actually a corner when he was in high school, and he's a firstie.
Nice. He must have been a pretty big corner. I know, or maybe he's grown a lot, but that's a pretty big corner for sure. Because,
he's a 6'2", 190 corner. Now he's a 6'2", 220 outside linebacker.
And the strength and conditioning program does a good job there. So, all right, Kaylin and Emmanuel, go ahead.
Hi, this is Kaylin and Emmanuel, Kanye's parent. Kanye went to St. Augustine Prep in
Richland, New Jersey.
Richland, New Jersey. Teammate with Brady Small. He was a running back for St. Augustine Prep, and he's now a plebe in at West Point. And
his number is number 26.
His number is number 26, and he's also a running back.
Absolutely. All right, my neighbors from across Buford, Jimmy and Rosetta, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. We're Jimmy and Rosetta Powell, and we're from the big city of Buford, Georgia, which is about 40 miles north of Atlanta, Georgia. Our son is Cadet Jackson Powell, class of 2024. He is a firstie, and absolutely wonderful guy. He played, I think, defensive end, tight end at Buford, offense and defense, and they were able to win a state championship his senior year, which was awesome because we had a little small dry spell there. And so he came in on a championship, and he at Buford with our oldest son, First Lieutenant Dean Powell, who was number 67, class of 2020. at West Point. 2022, excuse me. And Jackson graduated class of 2020 from Buford High, and he's class of 2024, and he's number 49.
Yes.
Nice. So Dean's already been promoted to first lieutenant. That's pretty exciting. Where's he stationed at these days?
Currently, he's at Fort Moore in Columbus, Georgia.
Okay. Oh, close to home. You guys get a chance to see him once in a while?
Yes, we got to spend Thanksgiving together.
Outstanding. Good stuff. I was saying before we got on the broadcast, folks, that had the opportunity to watch Jackson in high school a good bit. Didn't get to see Dean play as much, but I did get to see Jackson play a lot, and I was really excited Army was able to get him. So Kaylin and Emmanuel, we're going to start off with you guys. First question, Kanye was highly recruited out of high school. 3-star rivals running back, had a number of offers from Power 5 schools, West Virginia, Syracuse, Boston College, Rutgers. What made him choose West Point?
Great question. So we went on visits to all of those schools and several others that you didn't name that was highly interested in Kanye. Because of Brady Smalls, he mentioned West Point to him, and through, I think it was Mike, who was it?
The first coach I came in, it was Coach Drinkle. Yes. So he reached out to Kanye, and then they started having conversations, and then we went on an official visit there. And once Kanye went on a visit, he wasn't sure 100%. He liked everything that he saw at the school. Mind you, at this point, we probably have gone on maybe 20 visits already.
Wow.
So, of course, they made the offer to him, and he just said he wanted to take the weekend to think about it. And lo and behold, he chose West Point. He happened to come down, I think it was on a Sunday, came downstairs and said, "Mom, I just committed to West Point." He liked the culture there. He loved the coaches, and he will also be able to play with one of his teammates from high school.
That's pretty awesome. And as a mom, obviously, and a dad, you guys are very proud of him. Do you guys have any military history in your family or anything like this? Or is this your first kind of experience with the military up close and personal?
My father was in the military. He was actually in the Army. Unfortunately, Kanye didn't get to meet him. He passed before Kanye was born. So I guess this is a new introduction to it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
My nephew went to join the Army after high school. He went to Iraq 3 times, and I have another nephew that is in the Navy. I think he's an officer in the Navy. Apart from that, no other military background at all.
Okay, good stuff. Well, thank you, Brady Small. I think the Army fans are going to be very happy and are going to become even bigger fans of Tom and Aaron's son after hearing that he was one of the reasons that Kanye got to West Point. So very, very excited about that. And
one of the big reasons.
Thank your son very much for that. So, moving over to Tom and Aaron now, Brady is a starting center as a plebe at West Point. I've been following Army football a really long time, and I've been working with rivals for, 3 or 4 years now. And, before that was a big Army football fan, was a grad back in the 90s. To the best of my recollection, I cannot remember Army starting a plebe at center, ever. As Jerry Seinfeld would say, the big toe is the captain of the toes. The center is kind of the captain of the offensive line, right? They've got to understand the defenses, make a lot of the calls, not to mention the new shotgun snap thing that Army's doing. And we haven't had one bad shotgun snap all year that I've seen. So that's been great. Aside from being a starting center as a plebe, having to balance all the demands of plebe year from a military standpoint, what's that been like for Brady? What's it been like for you guys as parents?
It's been challenging at times for Brady, but I have to say the upperclassmen, the seniors, are the reason that Brady is able to do this and be able to get the starting job and balance it all. The amount of hours that they have spent with him early in the season in the film room, helping him, being mentors to him, that offensive line, upperclassmen is, absolutely, like, they truly are a brotherhood. And if it wasn't for them, I don't know if he would have been the starting center, because they really have taken him under their wings and have helped, him be the player he is so far at Army. Brady was never a center before until he got to Army. He was actually recruited to be a D lineman. It's what, all of his offers were for the D line. And, when he got to the prep school last year, they didn't even make it out of basic training, and they had moved him to the offensive line and given him a ball.
Wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy at first.
No,
honestly.
he was pretty upset. He didn't get to go chase quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So they said, here's a ball and start snapping. And, last year it was all underneath. And so he got there this year and everything was out of the shotgun. So there was another change. But, he embraced it. He obviously said whatever could get him on the field faster or whatever he would do that helped the team, that would be the position he'd play. But it really was, to balance it all, the upperclassmen, the seniors, those guys have absolutely, have been wonderful to him.
And even with the academic piece, as it can be a struggle with the time and allotting your time. And, there's been quite a few nights that we've had to talk him off the, bring him down and get him focused. And he just got overwhelmed and things like that. And he would, obviously challenge and accept it and work himself through it. So, we're very proud of what he's accomplished so far.
Absolutely. That's phenomenal. And, I'm sure all the other parents on here, especially Jim and Sharon and Jimmy and Rosetta and Ann, who have upperclassmen, can attest to the fact that there's plenty of nights as a parent, you need to talk to your son out of, as you said, kind of off the ledge, especially plebe year. And honestly, while the military piece of it gets easier, the academic piece gets harder. So it never really lets up, to be honest with you. So it's first year, you can kind of start, most kids get in their groove by first year and they start enjoying it a little bit. But that's really good stuff. And, we get the PFF stats every week at Rivals at GoBlackKnights.com. And I can tell you that almost every week, Brady Small is one of the top rated linemen on Army's team, usually in the top 2 every single week in terms of PFF scores. So just doing a phenomenal job. And I have no doubt the upper class offensive linemen like Anson Sam and Connor Finucane and some of those folks have been a huge help to him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Shifting now into the firstie parents. So, and your son's also an offensive lineman. And what I think is really cool about Sam and his journey is, maybe things haven't gone exactly the way you wanted them to go, right? That's part of life. Like, he probably hasn't played as many snaps as he'd like to play. I don't know if he's battled some injuries and whatever too. And, not everything in life goes exactly the way you want it to, but
Right.
As there's a sign in the Army locker room, at least there used to be, I think it's still there. It says, those who stay will be champions, because there's no reason, unlike most civilian schools, you don't lose your scholarship if you quit the football team at West Point. There's really no penalty. You can graduate, you can go be a lieutenant in the Army, no harm, no foul. I mean, a lot of those kids are great kids. They just found out football wasn't for them. So, and, when it comes to Sam, what about the brotherhood and the Army football team has really caused him to commit for all 4 years and be, in my opinion, just a phenomenal team player?
So I think, it's been harder for me because I think I care about football more than he does. But no, I'm just kidding.
I know a little bit about your background, Ann. Talk a little bit about your family. And I know you have a lot of coaches in your family and things like that. So talk to people about that.
Well, I was married to a coach and a former player. So, he taught the boys everything they know about football. But, I also grew up in a football household in Georgia, which if you don't live in Georgia or Texas, maybe Florida, it might be a little hard to relate to, but it's everything. So, my mom recently passed away, and I heard a story about her that I had never heard before. They had moved to Boston and she didn't have any friends yet. And she had 3 small kids. My oldest 2 sisters, she would drop off at school every morning and then take my oldest brother, who was an infant, to Foxborough Stadium. And she would watch the Patriots practice. And she did that for 2 months until they kicked her out because they thought she was some sort of like spy, but she loved football so much and she passed that on to us. And so did my dad, obviously. But Sam is different. And I think that any parent of a West Point football player would say the same thing. Our children, our sons are different. Sam he doesn't say anything negative. He is there for his teammates, for his brothers. He will do anything for them. He is the most positive person I've ever met in my life. And sometimes it's astonishing to me how positive, given some of the curveballs he's been thrown in his life so far at such a young age. So I'm not just proud of the fact that I have a son that goes to West Point and I have a son that plays football for Army. I'm immensely proud of the human being that he is, because I have parents, especially plebe parents and underclass parents, tell me all the time how much he means to their kids. He's just a fantastic teammate, but he's a brother. He's a brother to everybody on that team. And again, I could not be more proud of him.
You absolutely have a ton to be proud of there, and that's really good stuff. Great story about your mom. I'm guessing based on our age and your age, that was probably pre the Belichick era. But if
Yes,
it was the Belichick,
they were
era,
actually they weren't the New England Patriots. They were the Boston Patriots.
Oh, okay, good stuff. Yep, I barely remember that. Barely.
I was not alive. Let me be very clear.
The only thing about Ann, and we love Ann. She comments on the 12th night message board a lot. She's a really good GBK member. But living in Georgia, you root for this college team that is not the Georgia Bulldogs. And did you go to Auburn? Or are you an Auburn?
I did. I went to Auburn. I did. I went to Auburn.
Okay.
We moved around a lot. So we lived in Alabama briefly. And I decided to go to Auburn very last minute. I was actually headed to New York to go to school. And I'm so glad I made that decision. I mean, if you've ever met anyone from Auburn, we're insane about our school. We love it. I'm still best friends with all of my sorority sisters. We get together. I mean, on game day, our Auburn girls chat is longer than the Army football parents chat. We're all going back and forth, wondering, why we're running this quarterback or that quarterback. But yes, I did go to Auburn. Half my family went to Georgia. So it's always interesting this time.
Yeah. And you guys were this close this weekend. This close.
Iron Bowl.
Good one. That was the best game of the weekend, actually.
It really was. It was a great game. It was a great game.
Yep. All right, Jimmy and Rosetta, your turn. So, everybody knows your older son, now First Lieutenant Dean Powell, was a multiple year starter on the Army offensive line. How much of a hand did he have in getting Jackson to West Point?
I would say not a lot. He kind of sat back and let Jackson make his own decision. I do feel that him being there did weigh in on Jackson's decision, but Coach Brent Davis was the one who was heavily recruiting Jackson, and he visited quite a few schools. We went on several visits, and most of them he said, "Mom, I'm looking for that family feeling." And a few of the visits, he just great schools. He enjoyed the visit. The coaches were nice. But he didn't get the family feeling from the team when he met some of the players.
The brotherhood.
Yeah, he was definitely looking for the brotherhood. So West Point definitely, when he went there, it was just over the top. He just was like, wow, this is real. He heard a lot of things from Dean, but to actually go and experience on a visit really is what sold Jackson on Army. And he surprised us as well, just came downstairs. It was a Sunday night and says, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I just committed to Army," So he made the decision. And I do feel like his brother being there weighed in a little bit on that decision.
And, Jackson, interesting story this year, right? The first game, I don't believe he started at outside linebacker, and he worked his way into the starting lineup. What is it like? How does he like playing that dog position under Coach Woody? And he's really blossomed. Had a great second half of the season. Had a really good game against Air Force, I thought. How does he like playing that position in that defense for Coach Woody?
Oh, he loves it. He feels kind of like he's home now because that's what he played in high school. And so he worked his way on the field as a freshman on special teams. And, as you said, kind of worked his way into the rotation. So he definitely feels very comfortable at that position and glad to be kind of, the go-to guy at this point, which is being his senior year.
So Jim and Sharon, Jimmy has really blossomed the last 2 years, obviously made the transition, as you said, from a high school D-back to an outside linebacker at West Point to that Apache position, had to take over for a young man who was just a superstar at Army, Malcolm Morrison, almost ended up with the Las Vegas Raiders. Jimmy took over that position, kind of started working his way into it, and he's really had a great first-E campaign, made some big plays, but just as importantly, or even more importantly, he's one of the team captains. And, you hear the announcers talk about it every week, to be a leader among leaders as a captain at a service academy. I know he's going to be one of the representatives for Army down at Media Day in Foxborough in a couple of days. What's it been like to watch Jimmy kind of blossom into, I'm sure he's always been a leader. It's not like he just woke up one morning and was like, oh, wow, this kid's a good leader. But kind of watching him mature, in his leadership abilities over the last couple of years.
It's been the greatest journey ever. Our journey was real quick. I could get back into how we got to Army, but the last 4 years have just been amazing, especially the last two. And he's really set goals, what he wanted to do. And it's a process. You have to be patient. Freshman year was COVID. It was kind of a little bit of a disaster, a little bit. Sophomore year came, it was, special teams, and yes, and he was Malcolm's backup. Malcolm was a great mentor to him, got him ready. He was ready for that opportunity in junior year. And then came senior year, he came home. I think it was like in the spring. And he said, Dad, I'd really love to be captain of this football team. And, we were like, hey, man, go for it. Do what you got to do. And he was really excited. He really loves the guys in the locker room. And we just couldn't be any happier. A lot of people ask us, being that this is coming up to our last football game and the other day was senior day, are you guys sad a little bit? And we're like, nah, this is really it's a celebration. What I'm sad about is I didn't get to meet Jackson Powell's parents and Sam's parents, but I met Kanye's parents. I didn't meet the small, but things went so fast. But for us, it's a blessing, and we're really happy and proud.
Very proud.
Awesome. So this next question is for all the first-E parents, and we'll start with you, Jim and Sharon, since you just went. What will it be like watching your sons play football for the last time on next Saturday against their arch rivals? And what would a win over Army's arch rival and a CIC trophy mean in your son's last game potentially ever?
You want to give your perspective? You want me to give a football perspective? So what will it be like? Well, let me start out by saying 5 weeks ago, they left these kids for dead. But here we are. We're coming down to the last football game. 16 years of football. It's a culmination. So proud of all those kids, the way they fought back through adversity. They never listened to any of the outside noise. It was, when I ever talked to my son, he was oblivious of anything. he was like, Dad, we're just going to get this together. And, came Air Force. And we put a beating on him. So, here we are. We're in a situation where, this season, although people will say, we could have done a lot better, but a 6-6 CIC trophy, I think will heal all wounds. Absolutely. And that will be for us, to win that championship and for him to go out like that as a senior, as a captain with his brothers would just be the storybook ending of, a really good career for a good kid and a lot of really great kids on that field who are his friends and are his brothers.
Absolutely. Sharon, did you want to add anything to that?
No, it's going to be emotional for me, because I'm just so proud of him, of what he accomplished. Jimmy is truly, such a fine young man. He really is. And the way he presents himself, watching when he was little to now, it's like, I never thought he would be right here. So it's a very proud moment. Very proud moment.
Good stuff. And Jim, I completely agree with you. It's funny, as I do my analysis for GBK and I'm on some of the message boards and everything, that's one of the things I brought up was, and this is a good thing, Coach Monken has raised the standard so much at Army football. If you would have gone back 10 years and said, we could be 6-6 every year and win the CIC, we all would have laid down millions of dollars to see that happen because that was so far out of the realm of possibility. And now it's like, man, it's kind of an okay season. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing that he's raised the expectation level that much. But I completely agree with you. I'd be super jacked about a 6-6 CIC championship season. So, along those lines, Jimmy and Rosetta, you guys have kind of a unique perspective, right? Because did Dean play on the 2021 team?
Yes.
So that was right. I think that's an interesting perspective, right? Because that team was really good, actually. They were very talented, but they lost to the team from Maryland.
Yeah.
And it kind of just soured the whole season, to be honest with you. And can understand this from the Iron Bowl analogy a little bit. So kind of, Jimmy and Rosetta, give me your perspective on what it's going to be like seeing Jackson play in his last game and what it would mean to y'all for him to get the win and win the CIC trophy with his brothers.
I think it would be a phenomenal experience. We've been to the Army-Navy game several times, and we've had the opportunity to watch our much less one son, but both sons play together in the Army-Navy game, and it's just absolutely a phenomenal experience. I would encourage anybody, if they have the opportunity to go, I would be absolutely ecstatic. I don't think we're going to have any mixed emotions about it. And I had an aunt tell me one time, my Aunt Gwen, she said, your children will take you places that you never thought you would go. And Kaylin had mentioned the culture, and Ann had talked about being in Georgia. We're transplants from North Carolina, and our guys didn't play football until we moved to Georgia. Okay. So unlike the Carlos, they've had this 16-year experience. Our experience has been a little bit much more abbreviated. Okay. So what will happen for me is if Jackson forces a fumble, does a scoop and score, I will be ejected from Gillette Stadium because
I gotta see this now. This will be good.
Field. That's the last thing. When we talk about all the experiences we had, absolutely phenomenal. But to see him be able to recover a fumble and score a touchdown, I would just absolutely lose it. That's the only thing that could send me over the top. It's been an absolute great experience. So yeah.
That's awesome. What's crazy too, clearly a lot of athletic ability in your family, because for them to come from not playing football and then both of them started for Buford and ended up at Army, that's pretty impressive. That's good stuff. So I noticed your Raleigh area code on your phone number. So I was oh wow, these guys are from Raleigh. And how about it? What will it be like watching Sam in his last Army game with the opportunity to win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy?
Well, I'm trying to think of a scenario where he could be an eligible receiver and he could actually score.
Okay.
Nothing is coming to mind. So a win over Navy is just what the doctor ordered for this season. I think the Air Force win just kind of made everyone forget about everything else and see how capable these guys are, and that how hard they have worked nonstop since spring. And I think the icing on the cake is going to be beating Navy. And for our family, I guess it's sad. I'm not sad. I keep joking that I get a raise after this season because I spend so much money traveling to games. But you know, it's kind of bittersweet, but linemen have they have dog years as far as football years. So Sam's been playing since he was 5 years old. His body's tired. He's been beat up pretty bad, lots of injuries this year. So I know he's really he was counting calories at Thanksgiving. I couldn't believe it. So he's looking forward to getting the weight off and commissioning. So, you know, we have branch night this week for the firsties. So there's so much more that's coming up for them to be excited about and the next steps in their life that I'm trying not to be sad.
Very cool. Yeah, it's funny. I at the beginning of this season, or maybe it was actually in the off season, I interviewed Mike Houghton, who used to be an offensive guard for West Point back in like 2017, and he was so lean. I was just like, man, you don't even look like the same guy. It was pretty funny. So it's one of the craziest transformations you'll ever see. All right. Well, we are getting close to wrapping up. So here's a little segment I like to do that'll keep you on your toes. I kind of stole this from David Faraday at the Golf Channel. It's called Rapid Fire. And so it's basically how well do you know your son? So I am going to come at you with a bunch of questions and waiting for the answers. So we will start with Jim and Sharon and go around the horn. Jim and Sharon, first question. What is Jimmy's favorite mess hall meal?
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. I don't know if he really likes the mess hall.
The food there.
They cook in their room.
Nothing. Not even chicken fajitas or whatever.
Nothing. They got their own system going on.
Okay.
Him and Langenfelter got their own thing going on.
All right,
You know?
good stuff. Well, let me ask you an alternate then. Sharon, what's his favorite home cooked meal that you make?
Oh, salmon. I make salmon and he loves it. So that's what, you know.
Wow, healthy guy. Good stuff.
Healthy man.
All right. Tom and Aaron, do you know Brady's favorite meal at the mess hall?
I don't know his favorite meal. The only thing I know about the mess hall is he sits at a table that's heavy.
Yes.
Heavy, the double heavy.
He's
I get
literally
like
the only
all
thing I
the
know.
extra sandwiches and everything. It was funny, my plebe year, I roomed with a kid who was a linebacker on a football team. And I was like this little skinny kid, and he would come back to the room and he would like bring me all this extra food from the heavy tables. And he'd be like, I'm going to make sure you get big one way or the other. So
I was going to say something with meat.
yeah, anything with meat. And Sam, like anything in the mess hall?
Grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Nice. That sounds good. How about it, Jimmy? Rosetta Jackson, like anything from the mess hall?
Talks a lot about the breakfast, like the pancakes or waffles that they have, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the rare occasion they used to have those scones, right?
Yeah, he mentioned
Which is a
scones.
rare thing in the mess hall.
I was going to say the Corps has. We never got scones. What?
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
Jack's a bread guy. He's not
bread guy.
not a fish
Okay.
guy.
Oh, he's a
bread
carb guy. All right.
Yeah,
All right. That's funny. We got two outside linebackers. One's a carb guy. The other one's all into salmon and healthy stuff. Kaylin and Emmanuel, how about it? Kanye brag on any of the food up at West Point?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Good stuff. When you think it's bad when they're plebes, wait till they're firsties and they've been eating the same thing for 4 straight years. Yeah, that's a really good time. All right, here we go. Back to Jim and Sharon. Favorite, or I'll give you an option. Favorite or most stressful class for Jimmy?
What did he say?
At West Point,
Yes,
definitely math. Definitely math.
Calculus or something.
definitely math.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely math
yeah.
class.
Prob and stats, or as we used to call it, probably stap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely math.
Tom and Aaron, how about it? Favorite or most stressful class for Brady?
By far, most stressful
Mm,
is math.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny? But that was so I got a C- in plebe calculus, and I actually like I almost scored 800 on the math SATs in high school. That's how hard plebe calculus is. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Sam's favorite or most stressful class?
So his favorite class, all of his favorite classes have been sociology. His most stressful was economics. So I asked if he needed help, and he said, "What do you know about economics?" And I said, "I couldn't know anything because I have a BS in economics from Boston University. So what would I know?"
What would I know? It's only my degree.
Right.
Jimmy and Rossetti, give me Jackson's favorite or most stressful class.
His favorite classes has been in his major. He's an economics major, and so he
Love
loves
it.
economics. But the most stressful, which I thought was interesting, was international relations. I think that's given him the most angst necessarily is
That
international
was
relations.
my major. It was like
Okay.
a piece of
There you
cake.
go.
If he needs any tips, tell him to call me. I got him.
Okay.
It's because I was so bad at math, I majored in humanities. So.
That's how it usually happens. That's how it usually happens.
Go ahead, Kaylin and Emmanuel. Favorite or most stressful class for Kanye?
I would agree with the others. Math. Math.
Yeah,
Definitely
it's
math.
a beast.
Okay.
It is not for the
Yes.
faint of heart. All right, we're gonna go the
Yeah.
opposite direction. Kaylin and Emmanuel. What is Kanye's favorite football uniform combo?
You talk about for West Point?
For West Point, yeah. Does he like the all black,
All
black with the gold?
black.
All black. Yeah.
All
the black.
All black. All
The
right.
all black.
Jimmy and Rosetta, how about you guys? What's Jackson's favorite uniform combo? You know?
Yeah, I think it was last year's Army Navy uniforms.
Yeah.
I think that one is the one that he really liked.
The
First
green and
Armored was tight. I like that. I was a fan.
Yes.
And how about Sam? What's his favorite?
The
uniform?
gray. They wore it a couple weeks ago. I don't remember.
Oh,
what they
yeah.
wore. The all gray. We actually just had a conversation about it at Thanksgiving. He loves the gray.
It's a cool uniform. You don't
Yeah.
see him pull it out much. I always remember it as one of my favorites because it was what they wore when they beat Houston 70-14 in the bowl game 5 years ago.
Nice.
Tom and Aaron, does Brady have a favorite uniform combo?
I would have said it was the all gray because that is what he took his recruitment pictures in, and the all gray is what he picked. But after wearing the all black, he said the all black was his favorite.
Cool. Jim and Sharon, does Jimmy have a favorite?
He's got a couple.
Yeah.
He likes the blacks, he likes the whites, he likes the grays. He's
He
pretty
likes
psyched about he likes these Army Navy uniforms for this year.
Okay.
So he's
The Army
pretty
Navy
excited.
threads this year are pretty cool. I really like the helmets with the bulldogs on them. Those are pretty awesome. I'm pretty
Yes.
excited about those. So
Skill players have more favorites because for the linemen, it's like whatever is the most flattering, which is not a lot.
it's not a lot. The
Not
white
white.
is not going to get it. The all
Right.
white that they wore for UTSA
No.
that does not make them look tiny. That makes sense. All right. Kind of along the same lines, and we'll start with Jim and Sharon. Does Jimmy have a favorite cadet uniform?
Oh man. I would say he likes the fatigues.
All right. They're comfy. I'm with that. They're very comfy. Tom and Aaron?
I would say his PTs
Yeah.
or his ACUs.
PT, there you go. PT uniforms are the way to go. And how about Sam?
OCPs, I guess. Is that what y'all call them OCPs, right?
I'm going to go with it. They've changed the name so many times. When I was a kid, it was
Okay.
BDUs, battle dress uniform, which was
I
like
must have got the name
the
wrong.
Vietnam jungle pattern, basically. So, yeah, because they went from that to ACUs. Yeah, now they're OCPs. So,
Okay.
the more acronyms the Army can come up with, the happier they'll be. Jimmy and Rosetta, does Jackson have a favorite cadet uniform?
The white over gray.
No, he hates that one.
Oh.
It's great.
She said he hates that one.
That's his least favorite. It's the ones that they're wearing now with the gray and gray.
Oh,
he
the
likes
dress
it.
gray?
Yeah,
Really?
the dress gray.
That is
Yeah.
the first cadet I've ever heard say they like the dress gays because the collars usually just like shred your neck. But good for Jackson. He's tough. Good for him. Kaylin and Emmanuel, what's Kanye's favorite cadet uniform?
I would definitely say the gray
The gray.
for the dress, and then the PTs for
PTs for the
relaxation
and all
Makes
that
sense.
stuff.
Makes sense. Jimmy, I'm with you. I used to like white over gray, man, because they looked cool, but they were still comfortable because you had the
Well,
short
I
sleeve shirt.
I figured it was a dress uniform that Jack liked. That's in line with his personality.
He
but-
likes to look clean, as the kids say. Is that
Yes,
right?
likes
Is
to
that the
look clean.
thing? Okay.
I
Good
should have
stuff.
deferred that to him.
All right. Kaylin and Emmanuel, does Kanye have a nickname within the Army team?
Oh, that I don't know.
We don't know.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, they might
but
not share it with the parents. I don't know. Jimmy and Rosetta, do you know if Jackson has a nickname within the team?
It's JP, which is, you know,
JP.
yeah,
Okay.
just go with that, yeah.
And you heard any rumors? Know anything?
I know a lot of I know all the mob nicknames. Sam's is Tank.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Does he want a branch armor?
Yes.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
Tom and Aaron, go ahead.
Well, he gets Biggie a lot. He calls him Biggie.
Biggie's
But
I love it.
running through the team, he is Kung Fu Panda.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yes, which has a long story behind it, but yeah. But it's fun.
Brady is a black belt in karate, and the team had found out that he was a black belt. There was a video, and they started calling him Kung Fu Panda after that.
I had no idea, and it's no
Like
wonder
putting
he's
that
such a good athlete. That totally makes sense now.
Yeah.
See, the offensive linemen are always the most creative people on the team. I'm just gonna say, like every time. Jim and Sharon, go ahead. Does Jimmy have a nickname?
I don't know if he has a nickname on the team, but if you grew up in Ringwood,
We call him Goggles.
his name was Goggles. He wore goggles, and his eyes were like silver dollars. So if you ever come to Ringwood and you say, "Hey, you know,
How's Goggles?
yeah, how's
doing?"
Goggles?" If you
Yeah,
said, "Hey,
you
how's
know.
Jimmy Charlo doing?" They'd be like, "Who?" And he'd be like, "Goggles." They're like, "Oh yeah, no, I know him. Yeah, he's doing good."
Funny.
See, Jimmy and Rosetta, that's a Jersey thing. In New Jersey, nobody goes by their real name. Everyone has a nickname.
Okay.
Totally. I won't tell you what mine was, but yeah, everybody has a nickname. All right, last one. Well, second to last one. All right, start with Kaylin and Emmanuel. Which barracks does your son live in, and which cadet company is he in?
Oh man,
He's in
E1.
I'm gonna fail that one.
Barracks.
the
So,
barracks. We don't know.
By the chapel.
By the chapel. Yeah, by the chapel. You
Oh,
go
by
down
the chapel. Davis, the new
We're
one.
going with that one.
Oh, he lives in like the West Point Ritz Carlton, the Davis barracks, the new ones. They're nice.
Okay. If that's
Jimmy
what
and
it's called.
Rosetta,
Okay,
cadet
that's
company
it.
and barracks.
Yes.
Uh,
There we go.
He's in A3, and I know we drop him off at Arvin Corner. I don't know which barracks.
He's
No,
probably,
in
if he's in
Davis.
A3, unless they moved it recently, he's probably in Eisenhower. He's probably in Ike, probably facing the plane or
Probably,
facing
yeah,
central area.
Yeah, because he used to be in Davis, but he moved. He what do you call it when they shuffle him?
Scramble.
Scrambled. Yeah, he scrambled. He was in B1, he scrambled to A3, and that's when he moved barracks.
Cool.
And so yeah.
Good stuff. A3, I think A3 is the Apaches. At least they used to be.
He's,
And you know, Sam,
Barbara.
what barracks is he in and what cadet company is he in?
I think he's in Pershing, but he's been there so long. I stopped following after a few years. Yeah. And he was I-4 Iceman, but I don't think he's in that company anymore. I don't know. I plead the fifth.
Tom and Aaron.
Brady is a B3 Bandit, and I have no idea the name, but I do know it's right by the plane.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, they're in Ike, I think, again, unless they moved. I was third reg my whole career, so I know Ike and Mac. Jim and Sharon.
his barracks is Mikey Stadium.
Well done.
And he plays Apache. So
There you go. Good stuff. That's funny. All right, last one. Jim and Sharon, prediction for the Army Navy game.
I don't want to jinx it,
I
but I'm going to be
know.
honest with you. I don't think it's going to be as close as everybody thinks it is.
Here you go.
I'm taking the over. I think the over is 31. I'm taking the over.
Wow. All right.
think-
Last year is the only year in like the last 8 years the over hit, and that is because it went to overtime.
Yep.
Interesting.
I mean, listen, everybody could watch this and say, that Charlo kid's father, what an idiot. But I don't think it's going to be as close as people think. I really
Okay.
don't. I think
Good
these
stuff.
kids.
I
are on a
hope you're
mission.
right. I am very hopeful you're right.
They are on a mission, and they have a purpose, and they have something to prove. And I don't think anything's going to stop them. When I talked to my son that Thursday when they went out to Colorado, I asked him, he was in this hotel. It was a beautiful background. I said, hey, how's everything going? He said, everything's great, man. Colorado's beautiful. This is awesome. I said, how's everybody doing for the game? Everybody ready? He said, there's no way we're going to lose. I'm like, you do know you're a 31-point underdog, right? But that was great. So, they have a purpose, and my prediction is I don't think it's going to be as close as people think.
There we go. All right. Appreciate it, Jim. Tom and Aaron, give me a prediction.
Oh boy.
Well, they're gonna win.
Yes, I'm not good at predicting.
You're not good at predicting. And they froze. They intentionally froze. So, and go ahead.
On cue.
Well, you're asking an Auburn girl, so I know that any rivalry, it's anything goes, especially when you have two teams where all these guys were recruited by both teams for the most part. You've got equally matched talent. We have a new offense. They have a new head coach. So it's really anybody's guess what the score will be, but we will win, of course.
Good stuff. And do you want my job? Because your analysis is very good, by the way. You do a very good job with
Why,
analysis.
thank you.
You're on point. Jimmy and Rosetta, go ahead. Give me something. What do you got?
It will be Army win by 21, and Jackson will score in this game.
Jackson on every
I'll tell you what.
play.
I don't think this is a violation of NCAA rules. If Jackson scores a touchdown, I want you to look me up when we get back home, and I'm taking you two to dinner.
Hey, all right, cool.
You heard it now on live internet. I'm a man of my word. I'm held to it. Jackson scores. I owe the Powells dinner.
Fantastic. We'll be at Chateau Elan. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'll buy the wine.
Sounds good. I was going to say. All right. Kaylin and Emmanuel, give me a prediction.
The Army is going to win. Definitely. I don't care what they're going to do or what the Navy is going to try to do. This is the Army turn to just bring that trophy back home. I put my name on it. When it comes to football, when Kanye doesn't talk about football, he doesn't want to talk about football. He's focused. So that's something else there, right there. He doesn't want to talk about football when it comes on. It's a wrap. He's just focused. He's ready to play. So I know we're definitely going to win. I don't know how many points, but we're definitely going to win.
And the Army-Navy game, 1 point is as good as 40. It's a little more
Yeah,
stressful,
exactly.
but it is what it is. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for playing, everyone. You win absolutely nothing. So I really appreciate everyone's time tonight. I think the Army fans are really going to enjoy this little podcast here. Really enjoyed hearing from you all, getting an inside perspective because nobody's closer to what goes on the team than other than the players and the coaches, along with the support staff. The parents are really the next closest. They're the ones who hear everything. So really appreciate your time. We know, you guys are as busy as everybody else with Christmas and Army Navy and everything else coming up. So thank you very much. And Army fans, stay tuned. We've got a lot of good content coming on GoBlackKnights.com. I'm not going to announce some of who our guests are going to be over the next couple of weeks, but you guys are going to be jacked out of your mind. And I'm going to be a little nervous about who I'm interviewing because there are some very important, very sharp people getting ready to come on GBK. And I am super excited about that. So just stay tuned to GoBlackKnights.com over the next couple of weeks. and go Army, beat Navy.